Welcome to Spiritual Geography. I'm Joni Miller. After the 9/11 attacks in 2001, we soon started hearing stories of people who were supposed to have been at work but were delayed. A dentist appointment, a meeting at their child's school, a stoppage on the train line. And often the person would then express some sort of renewed intention for their life. God must have saved me for a reason. In some ways, this is probably like a near-death experience, but without the white light and chats with dead people. You may feel as if you were given a second chance at life, and positive things can come from that. You can have renewed purpose, become kinder to others, focus more on relationships and less on the material world. But the statement, God must have saved me for a reason, brings me up short every time I hear it. There's an unstated and unpleasant counterpoint to this phrase. If someone was not saved, did God intend for them to die? There were thousands of people who died on 9/11. Didn't God think them worthy of saving? There are always problems with theology that personifies the infinite. Don't get me wrong, there are problems with every theology, since fitting the transcendent into a box that humans can understand necessitates stuffing bits into uncomfortable corners and leaving whole segments floating in the ether. There is always more we don't know than what we do. And we don't even know the extent of what is unknown to us in the physical world or the metaphysical world. But this particular theology, that some unseen entity many call God is the arbiter of who lives and who dies, can feel capricious when you're on the unhappy side of the scale. This statement may seem perfectly reasonable when it is you or your loved one who missed death by a hair's breadth. A seemingly random occurrence, not being at school because of a stomach bug, can take on significance, becoming evidence of a divine hand at work in our lives. Let me be clear. I don't know if the infinite works that way or not. I do know the great mystery is way beyond my ability to fully comprehend. I also know that people can and do use this belief for good, finding newfound meaning in their lives after a near miss. But I implore you to think about the distasteful underbelly in phrases like that before speaking to others. Think about the kids who went to school because they felt fine and were killed. Try replacing God saved me for a reason with I'm grateful I'm still here and I vow to make my life as meaningful as possible. There are other seemingly religious phrases I also hate. I'm so blessed is one. When I question someone who said this, with curiosity, not judgment, I can be great fun at parties. When I questioned someone about this, I got a Bible verse back. Every good and perfect gift comes from God. That made me think, okay, where do the bad things come from? Do they come from God too? If I don't have what I want, am I somehow not blessed by God? That I haven't been good enough in God's eyes for a divine vending machine to fork over what I desire? I'm so blessed is in the same category with God won't give you more than you can handle. The unstated assumption in that is that God gave someone cancer or caused a fatal car accident. And how about everything happens for a reason? That's as if God orchestrated hard stuff to force someone to grow. And for the sake of all that is holy, never tell a grieving parent that heaven must have needed another angel. That is offensive on so many levels, I can't even begin to describe it. It's not just religious spaces that have catch-all phrases trying to explain the unexplainable. We are all trying to make sense out of struggle, death, disease, heartache. These kinds of phrases can be an entry point, a quick shorthand for a person to express what they're thinking, even though they actually have a far more complicated understanding. I do know that growth can come from any difficult situation, and that one can find something for which to be grateful, a blessing, even in the midst of devastating events. And that you can deepen your spirituality as you navigate hard things. Those are the sentiments behind the cliches. Just because it can be true doesn't mean it is true for everybody. Going back to the two questions I ask when looking at someone's spirituality, how do their beliefs help them, and do their beliefs hurt themselves or anyone else? So, how do these kinds of beliefs help? I can see lots of ways beliefs based on these phrases may help someone make sense of struggle. But then we go to the second question. Does this belief hurt them or anyone else? It may not hurt the person themselves, but expressing it to someone who is in the grips of deep pain can be like shoving a knife deeper into their heart. Most likely the exact opposite of what was intended. Talking about your deeply held spiritual beliefs with someone is like walking into a room with the other person sitting in the middle. There are eggshells strewn about. Some people have a small circle of eggshells around them. They can brush off things they don't agree with without any harm. Some people have the whole room filled with eggshells, so there's barely any space to tiptoe closer. And the eggshells are nearly always invisible. We never know the pain someone else is walking around with. We don't know their history, especially their history around religion and spirituality. We are also incapable of knowing the absolute truth about the infinite, whether you choose to call that infinite God, spirit, source, or something else altogether different. Therefore, if we can't know the absolute truth, try to hold lightly what you believe when you share with others. I'm not saying don't share your faith, by which I mean your personal spiritual belief system, since the word faith can be an eggshelly word as well. I'm not saying not to share your faith, but share it in a way that doesn't imply or outright state that this is how it is for everyone in every situation. A simple "I feel" before the cliche softens it a little. I feel everything happens for a reason, followed up by "This may or may not be your belief, but it gives me comfort to feel there's a greater purpose in suffering." Even better still, skip the cliche altogether and go straight to compassionate presence and compassionate listening. We often say these things because we feel the need to fill the silence. And we use cliches because it's easier than wrestling with the complexity of the unknown, the multifaceted complexity of the infinite. Know your audience so you don't accidentally crush all their eggshells with your hiking boots. Love can be a balm that eases someone's pain ever so gradually. Sometimes expressing love is best done without words. We don't understand the mysteries of the universe, but we can grow more love. Love for ourselves, love for others, and love for the infinite mystery that lays beyond our understanding. Thank you for tuning in.